They're precious, and our women are at the front. So I thank you for letting us start things off in the right way with our welcome to the territories. Is the Grand Chief here yet?
Where is he?
Yeah. Lisa's here. Takaya. Our future generations. I know our ancestors are here when I hear this young lady sing and speak. They're speaking through her, so please listen carefully. Osiam, Takaya Blaney.
Hello, my name is Takaya Blaney. I am 13 years old and I am from the Sliman Nation. My ancestral name is Jagajimuch, which was given to me by my Kukpa, my grandfather, who is also Jagajimuch. And the name Jagajimuch goes back to the first Jagajimuch, who was a voice, who was a healer, who was a speaker for our peoples. I like to acknowledge my nation. I like to acknowledge my name. I also like to acknowledge my elders, my Kukpa and Chicha, my grandfather Robert Blaney, my Chicha grandmother Elizabeth Blaney, because they are the people. They are the mentors and teachers, the true mentors and teachers who set me on this road and gave me the education that I needed to understand, reawaken to the truth. As a younger child, I don't remember going to kindergarten or grade 1 and doing the specific little puzzles that they had little children do, but I do remember the education that I received on the knees of my elders. I do remember hearing the creation stories, and I do remember hearing the stories of our land, of our waters, of our air, of our culture, and feeling pride in who I am, and feeling sorrow for what is being lost, and going through mourning. And I still am going through mourning for what my generation and the next generation has lost. But within that, there is hope for what we are regaining in the masses here today, holding up the signs, and not only going to the front lines, but going to the front lines within our communities and dealing with the problems that we see, the mistrust, the division, and the lack of culture which has stopped us as cultural people from becoming holistic indigenous peoples, being in touch and having both feet in both Western and our ancestral worlds, and being able to walk in the footsteps of those who have gone before us. I would like to thank the warriors that are here today. I would like to thank the creative and cultural and environmental healers that are in our communities. I have had the opportunity as a young child to be educated in what my rights are, indigenous rights that exceed not only the human rights that give us recognition of having our rights to our air, to our water, but also the indigenous rights to our culture, to our ancestors, and retaining and keeping alive these connections that make us healthier people. And so I was taught about the term Indian in contrast to the term Aboriginal, how the word Indian was put in the World Proclamation of 1763 that mentioned our rights as having jurisdiction and being caretakers and stewards over our traditional territory, and being in the legal documents that recognized our indigenous rights, and how certain phrases and certain terms have been created by the Canadian government, such as Aboriginal, meaning not original, today, to extinguish these rights, to get us to latch on to these terms. I was taught of the rights. And it's important to teach these youth, to teach the babies from the time that they have a soft spot on their head, not only our culture, not only our knowledge, and with that our morals, but also what we have legally as a community. Because, as it was said earlier today, we can only expect things to intensify. Everything that our ancestors have done, everything that our grandparents, our parents have walked towards in fighting for our rights and fighting for our children and their futures has led to this moment now where we can amplify our voices on a global scale through this social media platform that we have been given to be able to connect and reach out. And as I said, things are going to intensify. We are expecting our own civil rights movement. I wrote out what I was going to say in a card so I don't get carried away. It's also within our rights as human beings, as a life on this earth, that we are able to drink the water, that we are able to breathe the air, that we are able to be connected to our past, have pride in ourselves, who we were, who we are, and who we will become. When we talk about being environmentalists and we talk about the bottom line, it comes to the survival of ourself. It comes to the survival of our Mother Earth. It comes to the survival of our culture. Our culture, therefore, our community. And our community, therefore the products of that community, the children, the true products of the community, and our children, therefore our future. And everyone talks about being an environmentalist because we all drink water, we all breathe air, we are all connected to this land whether we deny it or not. And of course that's such an obvious thing, and I keep thinking, oh, we shouldn't mention this. But the thing is, it's such an obvious thing, but why doesn't our government understand that? We don't, it's not that we just want to look towards a sustainable future. We all want to have a future at all. And that's what it comes down to. I see hope. I see leaders, especially when I look to the young women, especially when I look to the children and to all of the warriors here today, but I put emphasis on when I look to the children, because what I see when I attend conferences, when I go to certain events worldwide, to be able to amplify this truth of what the millions have been talking about, of our rights, human rights, and the rights of our Mother Earth, I see the leaders. And the faces of those leaders are the children who are 7 years old, who are 8 years old, 9 years old, up and up and up. And I see them going to our quote-unquote leaders and decision makers and telling them how to lead and saying, you're not leading for us, you're not leading for our future. And so when you see these children, you ask a child, what do you want to be when you grow up? Or any kind of question geared towards their idea of their future. We might give answers like, oh, a vet or a doctor. But the bottom line with the children of what the parents, the grandparents, and we ourselves want is to be able to survive. And not only that, but to be able to look to the future with hope in our eyes. To be able to look to the future and say, and think of all the things we wish to change. To be able to look to the future and not think, oh, I really hope it's not too late. And people. Why doesn't our government understand this?
Because they're idiots!
I recently attended the UN so I could establish an Indigenous Children's Fund that would address and assist the needs of Indigenous children using the cultural and traditional ways of meeting, mentoring, and teaching these children. And there was this woman who said, the oppressor will always be the oppressor because he does not understand that we only want, we should all be able to possess our water, hope for the next generation, our air, our land, connection to our past, to our present, and connection